Okay, so let's talk about our experience today with the pianelle in Florence. The pianelle. I did take them off on the way back because my feet just couldn't handle another 2 miles in them. I'm pretty confident that the originals were not intended to be hiking shoes, and I definitely treated them like hiking shoes today. Basically, I walked from my kind hostess's home, my lodgings, pretty much outside of medieval Florence, all the way into the center of the city, over paved streets. Of course, not many streets were paved in medieval Florence or even Renaissance Florence. They were only slowly getting paved one by one. So there were softer surfaces where the impact would be less than constantly walking on stones and cobbles. The Giardine Boboli, which, you know, was kind of at the end of the day for me. And then I had to go find the mud. It was in the rose garden, and it was joyful to walk through the mud. It felt great. The shoes were perfect for mud. Anyway, I was wearing them as slip-on shoes rather than overshoes because this pair we made, unfortunately, too small to actually fit over top of my shoes. So that means I actually ended up with some blistering and rubbing in places that I don't think would happen if they were worn as overshoes, because then the slippers that you would wear in this era, basically leather or cloth slippers, would then protect your feet more than just my stockings did, is my feeling at any rate. Yeah, they were heavy, so that was a lot of extra weight to carry around all day on my feet, and also up lots and lots and lots and lots of stairs, and up lots and lots and lots and lots of steep slopes. Actually, the up slopes wasn't great. The down slopes was a little nerve-wracking, and definitely had my toes compacting into the end of the pianelle. Again, I think this would be reduced or mitigated by actual slippers or turn shoes that fit inside the shoes. Also, again, I'm not convinced that these shoes were intended for the kind of serious all-terrain treatment I gave them today. My feeling is leaning more and more towards the pianelle being the gentle walk around the city, the flat city shoes, because Florence is, the city part of Florence anyway, is very plainer. It's on a level almost with the Arno River, which is why when the river floods, it gets serious really quickly. Whereas the Giardini Boboli are extremely topographical, very much so. Paths going up and down and up and down and up and down, and it's also labyrinthine. So you end up walking a long distance to go, actually a very short distance ultimately, which is great for a pleasure walk. But again, and actually, the surface in the gardens might be closer to what that for which the shoes were actually, the pianelle were intended, because it was mostly gravel and there was some mud. I got to go through the mud. The pianelle performed perfectly as expected. They kept my hems out, all my hems, all of them, out of the mud, well out of the mud. There was no slipping, perfectly stable, crossing through very deep mud puddles, actually. Other thoughts about the pianelle? I really feel like that's it. Considering the abuse through which I put them and the sort of really, I think I probably walked easily 6 miles today, really, because I walked the several miles into town and then all around the Palazzo Vecchio, up and down stairs, all the way to the top of the bell tower, which is extremely high, and then all around Boboli, the Giardine Boboli, and in between, I never took a car anywhere. It was all on foot. Up and down bridges, and then through the Palazzo Pitti also, which is a massive Renaissance palace. There'll be videos coming out on that at some point here. Anyway, so the shoes performed really well. My feet are sore, but not as sore as they should be probably by all rights, considering that the only padding really is kind of the leather, which is not very much padding, and the cork interior, which is softer than, say, wood. So probably that would have been miserable had the interior been a solid wood core. Pretty rough on my joints also. So thoughts going forward, definitely if I were going to wear these, really wear these as just shoes, not overshoes, but these pianelle as shoes, I think I'm going to be putting in, gluing in probably some felted wool as padding so that they'll have a little bit of extra padding there, and maybe some felted wool over in the inside of the leather part. I have them somewhere. Look, I can even show you what I'm talking about. Here it is. Maybe putting some wool in here, felted, nice felted wool, and some wool here to create some extra padding. And also that will then provide a little extra grip because my silk stockings slipped a lot on this very smooth leather. And I think I spent a lot of muscular effort just gripping to keep them on my feet. It was subtle, it wasn't, you know, but just the little toes kind of digging in so that I don't slip in or out, especially going uphill like this. So felted wool here for padding and grip, and also maybe some extra protection from the rubbing. But yeah, I mean, you can see here on the bottom, they held up really well. I mean, look, like I said, they went through mud. I put them through their paces today, and they're looking pretty good still. For all the mistakes we made constructing this very first pair. I should have looked more closely at the shoes. So actually, the front and back, if I can get it to focus. Come on, camera, focus, focus. Okay, I'll insert a picture. So actually in the front and back, the two spots where it really took the most damage, shall we say, the most impact. The thread has actually started to wear away. That connects the upper here to the sole, both in front and back. And I don't know how to prevent that, except maybe by making the channel much deeper into the sole leather so that there is more of a buffer of leather around the thread so that the thread doesn't get worn away like it has. So this is going to have to be repaired eventually. It isn't actually coming apart yet. The thread is still poking through. It's just that it's no longer connected. So it's little dots of thread, like little thread nails here, instead of like a line of thread. And the same is true here on the heel area. Let me see if that's the case on this one. Yep. Same sort of wear, except more of it. And that's because I am asymmetrical as human beings go, which you can see in how I wear my shoes. One of my feet and legs are perfectly aligned and the other kind of naturally turns out this way. And it's something to go, something's wrong with me. But I hide it well by a good proper ballet posture. Anyway, okay, that's your wear and tear addendum. Okay, I guess those are my thoughts. You know, as always, let me know in the comments if you have questions that I haven't addressed. I'm confident there are many aspects that in my sort of exhaustion I have forgotten, and I'll be happy to, you know, answer those questions in the comments. So yeah, Pianella for the win. Firenze, the Contessa rides again. Stay creative.